Hi everyone, it's Miss Blair and Piper, and we're both wearing our green today to wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day. And you know what? I heard that Patty stopped by our classroom today. And I did get some pictures, so I'm gonna put those up on our video and you can see what Patty did to our traps. Just wanted to read you a book, and we've read this book before, but I really like it and I think that it can relate to us today, and that book is Little People, Big Dreams, Frida Kahlo. And again, we've read this book before, but I think we can relate to Frida, especially today. And another reason I really love this book is because I come from a family of artists, and I want to show you some of the artwork that my family has done that I have framed. This is a piece of art that my aunt drew. My aunt paints. As you can see, she's a very good painter and she paints a lot. And my little sister is an artist and she crochets. So she uses fabric and she sews it into fabric, and she drew this, or she crocheted this that I have hanging on my wall. And this is something she crocheted to me. Do you guys remember I have a bird, Sammy? Well, she crocheted this for me and she's very good at it. I come from a family of artists. I'm not really an artist. You guys have seen me drawn, but I really like art, and so I like learning about different artists. And when I went to Mexico a few years ago, I got this really cool thing. This is a picture on canvas, and this is a picture of Frida Kahlo that I got from Mexico. And we remember that Frida was from Mexico, right? She was a Mexican artist, and she drew self-portrait. And I also wanted to show you guys some of Frida's most well-known work, some of the portraits she drew, so I'll put those up right now. And I like her work because you guys know I love animals. There's a lot of animals in her pictures. And I also like Frida because she made the best of what she had. So I'm going to read the book now. Okay, so this says, Little People, Big Dreams, Frida Kahlo. It says, Frida was born in Mexico. Just by looking at her, you can tell she was special. When she was at school, she got very sick. The illness made her leg as skinny as a rake. I see Frida right there. I bet if her leg was that skinny, she wouldn't be able to run around like other kids do. But Frida didn't complain. She was different. She liked to dress differently too. And there's Frida. And she did like to dress differently, and it's okay to dress differently, huh? Then, one day, a bus Frida was riding crashed into a car. Life as she knew it changed forever. After her accident, Frida had to rest in bed. To help the hours pass, she drew pictures of her foot. I see pictures of her feet down on the ground. Then, even though she was still in pain, Frida decided to draw self-portraits using a mirror. Seems like Frida made the best with what she had, huh? She couldn't get out of bed all day, but still decided to do something really cool. Painting by painting, Frida and her art got better. It was time to show her pictures to someone else. See, there's a self-portrait. Remember, a self-portrait is a picture you draw of yourself. She visited the famous artist Diego Rivera, who couldn't believe his eyes. He wasn't sure what he liked more, her pictures or her. Frida and Diego fell in love. They were so similar and yet so different. But through their ups and downs, Diego encouraged Frida in her paintings. So there's Diego, and there's Frida. And this says, just married. Through her wonderful pictures, Frida spoke about how she was feeling. In some, she looked sad, but in others, she smiled. So I see, like in this one, she looks sad to me because she's crying. Eventually, Frida decided to show everyone her work. Her pictures caused a great stir in New York City. Got all the people looking at her. When the exhibition came to Mexico, Frida was so sick she had to stay in bed. But it was clear that nothing could stop her from painting, not sickness, pain, or heartache. So I see some of her self-portraits in the back. Frida taught the world to wave goodbye to bad things and say, "Viva la vida," or live life. She is. And we talked about this last time, right? So it was a painter's palette. They use it to put paint on it, and they hold it with their thumb. They use it to paint. And here is a timeline. I remember you guys made timelines in class as well. This is when she was a little girl, right? That's her and Diego. And this is her in bed. Do you remember she had to stay in bed for a long time? And I was thinking about Frida today because we're kind of like Frida in that we have to stay inside. We're not as bad as Frida because we don't have to stay in our beds all day like Frida did, but we do have to stay inside, which is a real bummer. But Frida teaches us that we can make the best out of any situation. Even though Frida was very injured and hurt her back and she had to stay in bed all day, she still made the best with what she had, and we can do that too as a class. Even though this is kind of a funny situation, we have to stay home, even though we'd rather be at school, we can still make the best out of this and have a fun time with our families. And I also have this little teeny journal. I like to write too. Remember, as an adult, you write too. And I write a lot. I like to write, so I keep lots of little journals around my house. And I think I'm going to write something about what I read, because I like to journal about things that I read. And I could write about one thing I learned about Frida, or I could write about my favorite page. But I think today I'm going to write about one thing I admire or one thing I really like about Frida. So I'm gonna start my sentence by saying one thing I really admire. And remember, I'm gonna start with a capital. So I'm gonna start with a capital O for one. And remember that the word one, it sounds like it would start with a W, but it actually starts with an O. That's one of our sight words. One thing. I hear the th, so I know that's a TH. I admire. I want to use the word admire. One thing I admire. I hear an I or admire about Frida is that she made the best out of a bad situation. That's what I wrote. One thing I admire about Frida is that she made the best out of a bad situation. I put a period at the end because we always end our sentence with a period. And that's true. Even though Frida was in bed, she still made the best out of her situation. She became a famous artist. And I think that's really, really cool. So I wonder what you guys are going to do in this situation. Maybe you guys can start doing something that you really like to do. Maybe you like to draw like Frida, or maybe you like to write like Miss Blair. I like to write, and I like to write every day. Or maybe you find out that you're very good at soccer. You play soccer in your backyard if you have a backyard. So let's make the best out of this situation like Frida did. And I will see you with a video tomorrow. Okay, bye from Miss Blair and Piper. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Goodbye.